Hey, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to Real Fan Sports. My name is Zach, and we're back for some more reactions, of course. And today we're going to continue my journey of learning more about F1. Not just reacting to content-based stuff, but actually learning about the sport, different rules, regulations, things about the vehicles, the car, steering wheel, all that stuff. And in this one, we're going to check out every F1 penalty explained in 12 minutes. Let's do it.
A 10-second penalty can turn a race winner into a backmarker or hand a rival the championship. While you're watching the race, stewards are using a hidden system that most fans never understand. These are the penalty rules that can change everything in seconds. Track limits. The rule itself is precise. The edge of the racetrack's the solid white line. A car has officially left the track if no part of the car remains in contact with it. And since that white line is part of the track, as long as even a tiny sliver of one tyre is touching it, the car is legal. It's a game of millimeters, but how they enforce this rule is different in qualifying versus the race.
Okay, so this white line, so if a tire is on that white line, is clear. If it isn't, that's bad.
That difference is key. During qualifying and practice, the rule is absolute zero tolerance. If a driver exceeds the track limits at any point during a flying lap, that lap time is immediately deleted. You'll see the message pop up on the screen, lap time deleted, track limits. It doesn't matter if they only went off by an inch, or if they actually lost time. The rule is black and white to prevent anyone from gaining even a potential advantage. This is incredibly high stakes. A driver could be on a pole position lap, but if they run just a fraction too wide on the exit of the final corner, that entire effort is instantly invalid. It's brutal. But deleting lap times during the race would be chaos, so they do things differently. The stewards use a warning system. A driver can get away with it 3 times. After the 3rd violation, they are shown the black and white flag, which is the official warning shot from race control.
Okay, so 3 times, and then they're shown a black and white flag. Okay.
If they exceed the track limits a 4th time, that's when they get a 5-second time penalty.
Okay, so if they do it 3 times, then they get the flag. So I'm assuming they don't see that flag until they come back around? Is that what I'm assuming with that? They'll see the flag as they get back across where the finish line is or starting line is, and then they know one more time they get a penalty. So if they go over, 2 times in 1 lap, and then 2 times on the 2nd lap, they don't know they're in that penalty? Am I thinking too overboard? Okay.
And every time they go off after that can mean another penalty. We saw this at the 2023 Austrian Grand Prix, where several drivers racked up multiple penalties for this. 12 in total. Of course, there's one exception in the race that overrules the warning system. If a driver leaves the track and gains a clear position from it, they are expected to give the position back immediately. If they don't, the stewards will bring out the penalty hammer much harder. And who are the stewards? They're not just one person. For every race, there's a panel of 4 officials who make these calls. One of them is always a former F1 driver. That's crucial because they bring real-world racing experience to the table. But before they make a call, the stewards see everything.
Jesus Christ.
They have every camera angle, the onboards, the drone shots, the views from the side of the track. They also see the car's data, the telemetry, and hear all the team radio. They get the full picture before making a decision. But what happens when the mistakes involve more than just the white lines? What happens when 2 multi-million-dollar cars end up in the same corner? The 5-second and 10-second time penalties. These are the most common tools the stewards use for on-track incidents. The 5-second penalty. Think of this as the standard punishment for a minor foul. Mistakes where a driver is clearly at fault, but it wasn't hugely dangerous or malicious. We see this given for things like speeding in the pit lane during a race by less than 6 kilometers per hour, forcing another driver off the track without making major contact, causing a minor collision, a classic oops moment. A great example was Hamilton on Albon in Brazil in 2019. Lewis clipped Alex, spun him around, and cost him his first ever podium. Lewis got a 5-second penalty for it. Now, how it's served is critical. If a driver has a pit stop left, they must enter their box and wait a full 5 seconds before the mechanics are allowed to touch the car. In a pit stop that's normally 2.5 seconds, this feels like an eternity. It can completely destroy a race strategy. If they don't have another pit stop, the 5 seconds are just added to their final race time. This
okay. All right. So that's interesting. Okay. So, I figured there was differences in, severity of penalties. So you got your minor ones. So you still get punished for even making like small mistakes. And I'll kind of like how it is adjusted, like being it in the pit stop, I feel like makes the most sense. And then, if there's none, then you have to go ahead and just take that away from the total. So, after the race ends, you may have a driver. Do the drivers know at some point that they're expecting to have a 5-second penalty? Like, is there any type of warnings from from the box or whatever it may be, indicating that, hey guys, your 5 seconds, you are on a 5-second penalty. So if you want to get first, you need to win by 6 because, yeah. So do they know ahead of time, or do they just find it out as everybody else does at the very end of the race?
This means they have to pull a gap of more than 5 seconds to the car behind to keep their position, which creates some fantastic, desperate racing in the final laps.
I guess I paused too early because they just answered it. So apparently they do know. Okay.
Then we have the 10-second penalty. Now we're talking serious punishment. The stewards use this when a driver is mostly or completely to blame for a major incident. We're talking about causing a serious collision that likely ends another driver's race, driving in a way that's clearly dangerous or unsportsmanlike. A famous modern example is Silverstone 2021. Hamilton and Verstappen collided at Copse Corner. Verstappen was out of the race in a massive shunt, and Hamilton was given a 10-second penalty. Despite the penalty, Hamilton still won the race. The debate still rages about whether that was fair, but it's the perfect example of the kind of incident that earns a 10-second penalty.
That's interesting. So how do y'all feel about that? I mean, the penalty is there for a reason. So if it's 10 seconds, they feel like that's enough. But, the fact that he was able to, he took a driver out of the race, someone that was competing with him closely for the first pace spot. And since he, basically, destroyed his vehicle, took him out the race, his gap still increases because now the guy in second, may have been already far behind. How do y'all feel about that rule? If there was any changes to it, or if you could make any changes to the rule, what would they be?
It's a punishment designed to really hurt, to make it very difficult, but not impossible to recover from. But adding time, whether in the pits or after the race, is still just a number on a screen. What if the stewards want to send a bigger message, one that every single fan in the stands and watching at home can see in real time? The drive-through penalty. This one is pure punishment. There's no strategy to it.
Never heard of this.
It's a deliberate, visible handicap. When a driver gets a drive-through, they have 2 laps to serve it. The clock starts ticking from the moment the team gets notified. They must enter the pit lane, cruise its entire length at the pit lane speed limit, usually 80 kilometers per hour, and then rejoin the track at the pit exit.
What?
They cannot stop. They cannot change tyres. The pit crew can't touch the car. The time lost is huge. Depending on the length of the pit lane, a drive-through typically costs a driver between...
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I've never heard of that. I might have to go find... I'm sure he's going to tell us some examples of it, but that's crazy. So, all right, so let's see what is warranted of this type of penalty. Because, I mean, goodness gracious, you might as well just put them damn near last. That's crazy.
20 to 25 seconds. In a race where cars are separated by tenths of a second, that is a massive blow. It will drop them down the order, often out of the points. Suddenly they're stuck in heavy traffic, racing cars they shouldn't even be near. This penalty is for clear rule violations, not judgment calls about racing incidents, like jumping the start. The car's computer detects any movement before the lights go out, and that's an instant drive-through penalty. Or when teams mess up a pit stop release, they let their driver go right into traffic in the fast lane. It's incredible.
Okay, so, all right, so jump in the start, unsafe release from a pit stop. Okay.
Dangerous. Sometimes it's even simpler things. If you don't have your tyres fitted 5 minutes before the race starts, that's a drive-through too. It's a penalty that says you broke a fundamental rule and now your race is paying the price. Losing 25 seconds basically ends your race. It's hard to imagine something worse, but there is something worse. There's one penalty that, short of being thrown out completely, is the single most dreaded punishment in Formula 1. 10-second stop-go penalty. This penalty is so severe, it's almost a disqualification in disguise. Jeez. When you see one of these handed out, you know the stewards are furious. It works like a drive-through, but with an extra layer of pain. The driver has to come into the pit lane, drive to their designated pit box and come to a complete stop. Then they have to wait there for a full 10 seconds. The crew cannot work on the car. They can't change tyres. They can't do anything but stand and watch as their driver's race dissolves in front of them. After the agonising 10-second wait, they are released to rejoin the race. It's the 10 seconds of being stationary, plus the 20 to 25 seconds it takes to travel through the pit lane. We're talking about losing over 30 seconds total. Wow. In F1, you might as well pack up and go home. Your race is over. Because it's so harsh, it's only used for the worst offences. Things like causing a huge, easily avoidable accident out of sheer recklessness, repeatedly and deliberately ignoring blue flags when being lapped, holding up the leaders. A team...
Maybe that's a video I need to do next, is what are the different flags and their meanings. I'm sure that's a shorter video, but I don't know. I've never heard of a blue flag, so I don't know what that means. Obviously, I could probably try to guess based off of this, but maybe that's something I can look into next.
Doing something highly illegal during a pit stop. It's the steward's ultimate penalty for on-track discipline. Their way of saying what you did was completely unacceptable. So far, all the penalties we've talked about punish a driver in the current race. But what about a penalty that compromises your next race weekend before it has even begun? The grid penalty. A grid penalty is exactly what it sounds like. You might put in the qualifying lap of your life and earn P2, but you don't get to start there. You're forced to drop a number of positions on the starting grid. It could be 5 places, 10 places, or sometimes right to the very back. This happens for a few key reasons. Sometimes the penalty is for an incident in the previous race. A driver might cause a collision and finish the race, but the stewards decide it warrants a penalty for the next event. Another way to earn a grid drop is through the reprimand system. Think of reprimands as official written warnings. A driver can collect 4 of these over a season, but the 5th one triggers an automatic 10-place grid penalty. These can be for driving offences, like when Yuki Tsunoda drove back to the pits in Zandvoort with loose seatbelts, which earned him a 5th reprimand and a 10-place drop for the next race in Italy. But they can even be for non-sporting issues. Sebastian Vettel got one for wearing a Same Love shirt during the Hungarian anthem ceremony. It's a system that tracks a driver's behaviour both on and off the track.
Okay, so reprimands can be a variety of different rules of just, I guess more of a case where these drivers represent the sport of F1, and if they do something that takes away from F1 or goes against what they believe, or I guess maybe that's getting a little deep into it, but something on those lines. So like recommendation could be from driving poorly, recklessly, and it's like, all right, well, you know what? This is something that doesn't suit what F1 is. We're not for this. So here's you get reprimanded for that. Doing something like with the shirt, or some other situations where you represent F1 as a whole, you do something that is frowned upon within F1, or something that's against the regulation of like clothing and stuff, rules like that. Okay.
But the number one reason we see grid penalties, the one that shuffles the grid almost every other weekend, is for changing engine components. Each car gets a very limited number of power unit parts for the entire season. The engine, the turbocharger, the control electronics, and so on. If a team has a reliability failure, they need a new part. If they want a fresh, powerful engine for a key race, same thing. Either way, taking a part outside their allocation comes with a cost. The price for that is a grid penalty. But grid penalties only hurt you for one race. You start at the back, you fight through the field, and by next weekend it's forgotten. But there's another system running in the background, one that's tracking every single mistake you make. And this one doesn't just reset after each race. The penalty point system. This one operates in the background all season long. Every F1 driver has a super license, which is their ticket to compete. For almost any on-track incident that warrants a penalty, the stewards can also add penalty points to that license. A minor bump might be 1 point, a more serious crash could be 2 or 3 points. The magic number is 12. If a driver accumulates 12 penalty points over any 12-month period, they receive an automatic one-race ban. This system was designed to stop repeat offenders. A driver can't be reckless and accept the race day penalties. They have to think about the long-term health of their career. Pierre Gasly came very close to a ban in 2022, and he had to adjust his driving to be more cautious for several months, until some of his older points expired. But there's one penalty that's even worse.
I didn't even think about that. So it's 12 months running. So it isn't like January to December. It's if you got a penalty in April, that penalty doesn't expire until the following April. Okay.
Qualification. This means your result is completely erased. All your hard work, all the team's effort, gone. It's like you were never even in the race. Disqualifications happen for 2 main reasons. First, and most common, is a technical infringement. After every race, the top cars are carefully inspected in a process called scrutineering. If anything on the car breaks the technical rules, it's an automatic DSQ. Perhaps the car is underweight. Maybe an aerodynamic part is illegal. A famous one is the wooden plank under the car. Teams run their cars as low as possible for speed, but there's a limit. If the plank wears down too much, more than 1 millimeter, it proves the car was running illegally low. That's an instant DSQ.
I do like how strict the rules are. There is no leeway, or at least from this video, it seems like there's no leeway. It's just kind of like, it is what it is. You break it even by the slightest of margin, a feather, that's it.
This happened to both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc after the US Grand Prix in 2023. They lost their 2nd and 6th place finishes. It's a brutal black and white rule with no room for error. And it's not just plank violations. Daniel Ricciardo lost his first ever podium at his home race in Australia in 2014 for a fuel flow sensor issue.
Oh, wow.
The second reason is a major sporting infringement. This is for serious rule violations. Ignoring a black flag, which is a direct order to pit, is grounds for a DSQ. The most famous example of a DSQ wasn't for a single race, but an entire season.
Yeah.
Michael Schumacher was disqualified from the 1997 World Championship for deliberately driving into his rival Jacques Villeneuve in the final race to try to win the title. That's how seriously the governing body takes unsportsmanlike conduct. And that's it. Now you know how the stewards think. Small mistakes get small punishments. Big crashes get big penalties. Break the rules, and you're looking at drive-thrus or race bans. Cross the line completely, and you're disqualified. So the next time there's a controversial penalty, you'll be the one explaining to your friends exactly why it happened. You might still disagree with the call. Arguing about penalties is half the fun of F1, but you'll never be confused again. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more Formula One explainer videos.
I'll tell you what, I am going to subscribe because it seems like this is the exact type of video that I've been looking for. And the channel is called The F1 Explained. So the link for this video for their channel will be down below in the description. So go ahead and look for that. But this is interesting. I mean, I'm glad I was able to find this one. I think it was the Masters on our Discord. Shout out our Discord if y'all want to join. That's in the description as well. But for sharing this video with me, this was very insightful, very helpful. I guess I got a few questions for you guys. One of which, how do y'all feel with how the stewards are, how it's ran? Do we ever feel like there's some favoritism or anything like that? Is there any type of like collusion beliefs when it comes to the different drivers and how the stewards penalize them? Because I know we've had several people saying how certain racers get away with a little bit more than others do, and since certain rules are black and white, but then other ones, specifically like the 5 to 10 second punishments are a little bit more opinion based, I guess you could say. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us again for another reaction here on Real Fan Sports. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If y'all have any other great videos to help me learn more about the F1, learn more about F1 and how everything works, send it down below or send it over on our Discord. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Catch y'all later. Cheers.